Good morning. I would like to welcome you to the Columbus Day workshop of the Orlando City Council. I'm actually not sure why we don't have Columbus Day off, but oh well, we're here. Okay, this morning, so we've gone through our budget cycle. October 1st was the beginning of our new fiscal year, which means we'll be entering into agreements with various not-for-profit entities that we support, and we're going to hear updates from three of our economic development organizations this morning: the National Entrepreneur Center, the Black Business Investment Fund, and Prospera Florida. They help us promote economic growth here in the city of Orlando. So Lillian Scott Payne with our Economic Development Department will do the introductions. Lillian?
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, Mayor and Commissioners. As the Mayor stated, today we will actually hear from three of our economic development organizations. At the next workshop, you will hear from three others, and then on that day we will take or present to you all of our funding agreements because they get renewed every year. And so today we have with us Jerry Ross with the National Entrepreneur Center, and then it will be followed by Inez Long with BBIF and Gabby Ortegoni with Prospera, which is formerly known as HBIF. So, Jerry?
Welcome, Jerry.
Thank you. Good morning, Mayor Dyer and Commissioners. Thank you for this opportunity to talk to you today about the National Entrepreneur Center. Small business is huge in America, and it's also huge in Florida and in the Central Florida region. This slide shows that, and the numbers change a little bit percentage-wise, but typically remain the same. In the Orlando MSA, about 86% of the businesses that are headquartered here have less than 10 employees. If you look on the bottom, those 86% produce about 34% of the jobs in our metropolitan statistical area. 13% of the businesses headquartered here have between 10 and 100 employees. They produce about 35% of the jobs. And so what you see here is that about 99% of the businesses in Florida and in Central Florida have less than 100 employees. We're
Jerry,
a small
can
business
I ask you
community.
a quick question?
Yes, sir.
You qualified that by saying headquartered here. So
Yes, sir.
within these numbers, would you not include Disney and Universal and
No, because
Siemens and
Disney is headquartered in Anaheim. This would take into account Tupperware, AAA, who are headquartered here in Central Florida.
Okay.
And so that's typically where decisions are made. And for the Edward Lowe Foundation data that we rely on, it's where they're headquartered.
Okay.
When we look at this, stage one businesses less than 10 produce 34% of the jobs, but 13% of the companies that are headquartered here, considered second stage, produce more jobs than the other 86%. And so the economic development theory is anything we can do to take a small business and move them from stage one to stage two, our community gets an exponential increase in jobs. And that's what the National Entrepreneur Center has helped our community do since 2003. Building a world-class community can get messy because there's a lot of moving parts to building businesses. As you see here, there's talent pool, intellectual capital, there's support providers, which you're going to hear from today, advocates and champions, and we have financial capital needs. All of those are necessary to make a vibrant small business community. Our community decided to pursue in 2003 economic development through small business development, and our answer was to form the National Entrepreneur Center. As a community, we provided a single location through a public-private partnership. It's a shared facility, which means we currently have 13 resident nonprofit organizations, but we don't have 13 receptionists or 13 training rooms. We don't have 13 phone systems or 13 servers. We all share. And by doing that, every one of the residents who are nonprofits, their cost goes down. They provide free coaching, low-cost business training, easy access to business resources because businesses are not running all over town looking for help. They can come to one location and get connected to multiple organizations. There's easy access to business resources. We have a computer lab. We have software that can be shared by businesses, so they don't have to go out and buy that. They can come and test it for free at the National Entrepreneur Center. We also provide a variety of networking and connection opportunities, because sometimes for a small business, it's just being connected to the right organization and sometimes to the right company. Many times, looking to get into business, especially in a second language, it's about learning the system and who controls what. Where do I go to get a business license? Where can I go to get the connections that I need to be successful? Those 13 resource partners that are all resident at the National Entrepreneur Center are located on this slide. 13 nonprofit organizations that have a single mission, and that's to help small businesses grow. It provides efficiency for each of them because each of them are able to pay for their own office location, but utilize the resources that are provided by the sponsors of the National Entrepreneur Center through technology, through hardware, software, let alone training rooms, conference rooms, break rooms. There's reduced duplication because now not every organization has to do everything. When we sit around the management board, which is made up of the leaders of each of these organizations, we talk about who's going to do what. And so sometimes an organization will say, that's my strength. And they can do that and focus on their strength and not have to provide a large range of offerings to service everyone. It's collaboration and it works. The lowered expenses are that we're not duplicating services. We're not duplicating resources. We're able to leverage the community resources we have through 13 resident organizations. So it's better facilities and technology, it's easy access, reducing duplication at a one-stop shop. That allows us significant marketing opportunities because as we have visitors from all over the country that come here to say, how do you do what you do in Orlando, Florida? We talk about collaboration, and many of those are media who write about the wonderful things happening in small business in Orlando. We could tell stories, we could talk about anecdotal evidence of business successes, but 2 years ago we decided to bring in a firm that specialized in measuring economic impact. It was Angelo Economics from Austin, Texas. Our board authorized bringing them in to study the model of the National Entrepreneur Center. They left town after their research and said, we can prove a 14-to-1 return. For every dollar invested in the National Entrepreneur Center, we can show a $14 economic impact in the community. My response was, I'll take 10. 10's good. They said, we can prove 14. Now, this is a snapshot in time. This is a snapshot of our investment over those, what will be 15 years now. But over 200,000 business people have been trained face-to-face at the National Entrepreneur Center since our inception. Over 3 million contacts. The difference between that is a training or a coaching session is someone who comes in and sits down. A contact is maybe somebody who came to a networking event, maybe somebody who showed up at the front desk to say, where do I go for this particular information, or even someone that visited us online and asked a question. It is significant impact, and it happens because of the collaboration at the Entrepreneur Center. But it's not just about activity, it's about accomplishment. And these are accomplishments of the resource partners that reside at the National Entrepreneur Center. Real success proven by the community. And these are the funders that collaborate to make it work. From Disney and UCF to the City of Orlando, Orange County Government, the Orlando Magic, the High Tech Corridor, Regions Bank, T-Mobile, Orlando Utilities Commission, Seacoast Bank, and Wells Fargo. Public-private partnership that's working. They invest in the center to pay the overhead of the staff, the management, and the common shared facility. So last year, some of our highlights, one of the things that was unexpected was our ability to help during the Pulse tragedy. there were many organizations struggling to say, where do we meet and how do we congregate together? Many of them decided that the National Entrepreneur Center was a neutral ground that they could meet to collaborate and say, I've got volunteers. We can't put them in front of a victim without being vetted and trained. Who needs volunteers? Some people said, I have water, 100 cases sitting in my lobby. So who needs water? And so it became a center not just for business, but for the community. We're now currently helping with Hurricane Irma response by hosting the training for the SBA disaster response teams. They come to the National Entrepreneur Center, they train their teams and send them out throughout Florida. Last week we learned that with Hurricane Irma, or with Hurricane Maria, they were looking to start a phone bank in Spanish for the victims in Puerto Rico. And so now we found space within the mall that the SBA Response Center can open a telemarketing group to answer questions from Puerto Rico in Spanish. Congressman Murphy has visited for roundtables. The administrator of the SBA, Linda McMahon, has been to the center multiple times to talk about how the federal government can help with regulations to support small business. Our International Trade Office has opened 3 years ago and is now helping us engage delegations from all over the world. So how do we move forward and what do we look to do in the future? We want to continue to strengthen our collaborative community, especially with the SBA, because that's where we will have, as a local idea, national impact. We'd like to expand that relationship. We would like to support and continue to support the Puerto Rican response to Hurricane Maria. And we want to explore expansion options because we're out of space, and that's a good thing. Lastly, I mentioned our 15-year. We are currently in our 15th year of operation. The celebration of collaboration is how we're going to celebrate our 15 years. And we're going to start in January and hold 15 events between January and June, most of them business training events, to celebrate the collaboration that happens inside the Entrepreneur Center with nonprofit organizations, but also the community that collaborates to fund the center, to support the center, and advocate for small businesses. We'll celebrate, and then next June, we're going to have a celebration of collaboration breakfast, and I hope you'll all attend, where we intend to celebrate your collaboration, the funders of the Entrepreneur Center, in making it happen for the small businesses here. Thank you for the time that you've given us. Thank you for the advocacy that you've provided and the funding that you've given us over the last 15 years. We couldn't do it without your support, and I invite you to ask any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Jerry. Questions or comments for Jerry? Commissioner Hill.
Thank you, Jerry. Thank you. Great presentation.
Thank you.
It's just a few requests.
Sure.
That I have. Of course, like yourself and many other small businesses is a passion of mine, and right now I'm working on actually it'll be rolled out on this Saturday, it's upcoming Saturday, creating entrepreneurs. I have an entrepreneur workshop, and then it will roll over to Canvas. I'm hoping, and this will be that the same questions will be for the other three candidates of this funding, is I do want to see more grassroots outreach throughout the city. It has been very difficult for some of the wannabe entrepreneurs or small businesses to get to the west side. Sure, they have transportation, but many of them don't even know about the entrepreneur center over there.
Sure.
So I would love for us this year moving forward to do some outreach going towards the west side and even, towards the east side of Orlando when it comes to minorities, and more so focus not on those that know business, those that have dreams of being business owner, entrepreneurs, especially when I'm thinking about my Brothers Keepers Mayor, those young men and boys of color that maybe need, and those that need second chances. I think the services that all three of these groups provide are essential. Also, I would love for your center, the National Entrepreneur Center, to collaborate with Canvas Paramore and bring those services there if it's just 2 hours a week all right, versus those folks there in Paramore and these small business owners that we're trying to build having to go over to the east side of Orlando.
I think we currently have SCORE counselors that service the Paramore Canvas area, which will do.
I haven't met them. I've been having meetings. So
One-on-one
maybe that was
coaching.
good intentions, but they're not there as yet. Me and Donna and a
Sean
group just met.
Shanbag is the person I think that does that. I appreciate your community outreach. I attended one of your small business
3
events.
years ago, and we need to do more of that.
We recently did that with Congresswoman Demings and Representative Anton. So we're working on that, but I would surely engage with you on any event.
Thank you for your service.
You bet.
And, I'll be back soon.
You bet.
And we'll work on it.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Stewart.
Thank you, Mayor. Jay, thank you very much. I appreciate the work that you do.
Thank you.
As always, we stand ready to help and to be part of that.
Thank you.
I know that there are occasions when you want to deal with people who, in the nonprofit world, and I stand ready to help as I always have offered, as well as some things that we can do in terms of dealing with the business. A panel discussion about dealing in businesses with the government.
Yes, sir.
I know you're working closely with our permitting section and those kind of things. We want to continue to keep that up and get the message out. I mean, I think you do good work over there. I want you to expand, but I don't want you to move. So make sure you stay over there, please.
Yes, sir.
So another office in the west side is a good idea. But I don't want you getting your hopes up to move someplace else. I don't want you to go anyplace else. We like having you there. Tony was kind enough to give that area over to me last piece and play an important role in getting it started. So we're all behind you. I want to keep it up, and we know that small business really is the core of our thing.
I would like to thank you for the support from your economic development team. Brooke Bonnet, Lillian, Kim have all been participating in the board and have helped us tremendously too.
I'd like to see, I mean, maybe from a different standpoint, I'd like to see you working a little more closely with the Orlando Main Streets. I think that there's a good opportunity to be able to help in that small business area and small business arena.
Absolutely.
And see you as a partner there in terms, especially in training. A lot of the challenges that we have in our main streets really are a question of communication. We want to provide additional resources to them and give a purpose for them to join, a purpose for them to be engaged. So I'd love to talk to you about that.
Sure.
Get a chance for you and I and Brooke and Pauline when she gets back to talk a little bit about how we can engage you and for the main streets. We now are having incredible success, and I think that we are really on the tip of that iceberg. We can really do a great deal more.
Great program.
Right. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you, Jerry. Great job.
Commissioner Ortiz.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to thank you because you guys have been involved with our neighborhood leaders, our Main Street. You guys have been involved with everybody in our community. So I just want to make sure that we continue that. And you guys, I don't even have to ask that because I know the guys in our district have been engaged, have been in contact with you guys at all times. And you guys have done a great job.
Thank you.
You guys have saved a lot of businesses in my district. And you guys, I mean, have done an excellent job promoting your company, what you do, and our district have seen it, and people that go through the Cimarron Corridor, they can see the changes. So thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you, Jerry. Good presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, BBIF is up next. Inez. Ed, we may need a little technical assistance.
Yes. Good morning, Mayor and
Good morning.
Commissioners. Thank you so much for the opportunity to come before you today to share updates about BBIF. Our organization has really evolved over the years. This is our 30th year in business. So we like to bring that to your attention, and we will be having a major celebration on our birthday, which is coming up in May of next year. And we will invite you. The city has been a partner with BBIF for the past 30 years, and we really thank you and appreciate that, and we really want you to come out and celebrate with us. Our organization, you already know our mission, and just to share a little bit, we are certified as a CDFI and CDE through the U.S. Department of Treasury. We are a member of the OFN, which is a national CDFI organization, which has 300 of the strongest CDFIs in the United States, and we are one of those CDFIs. We also are partnered with SBA. We do loans for SBA. In partnership, we do the Community Advantage Loan, and we do the microloans with SBA. We are also a member of, we partner with the FDIC, and we partner with the U.S. Department of Transportation. As you know, we have I-4, which is being renovated here. So any minority or DBE businesses that have one of those contracts that need working capital, we can provide loans up to $750,000 to those businesses. Just a little bit about us. When we started out 30 years ago almost, we had one certification, and that was we were certified by the state of Florida as a Black Business Investment Corporation. We had a staff of 2, and we had 7 volunteers. And our service territory was the Orlando MSA, and our average loan size at that time was $30,000. Today, we have 10 staff members and 23 volunteers. We have 24 investors versus 11 when we started. Our service territory is statewide. And instead of 1 loan product, we have 6 loan products. Instead of an average loan size of $30,000, our average loan size now is $150,000. And we have 5 certifications. For our fiscal year that just ended on September 30th, we have done in business loans over $47 million. Community leverage, which is, I'm going to explain to you guys a little bit, we've impacted over $55 million in investments in the community, and we have impacted nearly 13,000 jobs. Our historical loan losses never exceeded 4%, and we've done over 400 loans to business people. We take a holistic approach when we're working with small businesses. Our holistic approach starts, of course, with attitude. A business owner has to have a coachable attitude. They must be willing, of course, to take advice. We work on the capacity of the business. We do an assessment to see exactly where they're at, and we determine where they're at based upon market information, because we are a financial institution that we're able to get, and we identify the gaps that the business person has, and then we work on filling that gap through our capacity development, which basically is technical assistance training. We work to help them expand their networks, and we also invest capital in businesses through direct loans. And then we also work with entities such as the city in regards to the programs that you have, the MBE programs, to help businesses identify various opportunities that would be most appropriate for their businesses. The 5 loan programs that we currently have is the original Black Business Loan Program that we started out with. The SBA Microloan Program, we have a contract financing program where if a minority business has a contract from any of the governments, we will provide them working capital, doesn't matter what their credit looks like. And we secure those loans with contract assignments. Your government provides assignments to us for those minority businesses so that we can invest working capital. Then we have the small business loan product, which is up to $250,000. and that is an SBA product. It's called Community Advantage that we do for small businesses. And then the one that I'm going to talk to you most about is the New Market Tax Credits. We have been awarded 2 allocations totaling $40 million from the New Market Tax Credit Program out of the U.S. Department of Treasury. And we've been able to do some very impactful things right here in Orlando with that. So therefore, that leads us into the conversation about certified CDFI. When we started out, we were not a CDFI. We are a CDFI now, and a CDFI is a financial institution. And as a CDFI, we must, in order to be competitive, to bring resources into our community, we must maintain excellent financial performance. We must manage our balance sheet, and we must maintain a strong financial position. In order for us to bring additional resources to our community here, we've got to be competitive among other CDFIs and CDE peers, because the CDFI program, which is out of the U.S. Department of Treasury, is a national program. So when we compete for resources, we're competing with over 1,400 other CDFIs nationwide. So we must achieve and maintain a high quality of performance measurements and impacts. This means that in managing our balance sheet, we have to establish and maintain cash loan reserves. We used to didn't have to do that when we started out. We were just a nonprofit loan program, but that's not who we are anymore. We have to establish and maintain operational cash reserves. We have to establish and maintain unrestricted net assets that represent at least 25% of our total debt. And our loan quality we cannot have loan losses that exceed 7%. Our sustainability must be greater than 60%, and our capital deployment must be greater than 75% in order for us to be competitive in the national market. And as an organization, we've achieved all of that. Why do I bring this up? I bring this up because if we are and we remain competitive, then that means that we can go out and get new market tax credits, which we've done. We invested $6 million in Aspire right here in Central Florida on Mercy Drive. And I think you guys know what this company is, because the city supports Aspire and all of the great things that Aspire does for the low and poor people in this community. Well, us being able to bring those resources in here allows for us to do things like that. And so we want to continue to do that. So what are we asking you to consider? We're thankful to you for the grant dollars that you provide us on the operational side that allows for us to provide technical assistance to the small businesses that we're able to work with. But we're also asking you to consider us a little bit differently moving forward in regards to helping us build our loan loss reserves, because our loan loss reserves makes our balance sheet stronger. And when our balance sheet is stronger, that means that we become more competitive in the process of bringing more resources to our community. We're looking at several deals, other deals in the community right now, where we will be bringing new market tax credits to those projects and make those projects a reality within our community. And so, therefore, in summation, again, I thank you for all of the support that you have provided to our organization in 30 years in this community. And we're asking you to help us as a CDFI to become even stronger and more competitive so that we can bring more resources to our community. And I'm open to any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Inez. Inez, how long, just out of curiosity, how long have you been with BBIF?
Sir, I left SunTrust Bank in, I want to tell you, February of 1990. Prior to that, I was a commercial lender in Central Florida.
So is that 27 years?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Wow.
Man, yeah.
So I've been blessed, and a lot of good, it's kind of like your successes are because of your partners. And the city has been an excellent partner for BBIF. The city was one of the first governments to step up to help us get started in this community. And we appreciate that. And so what we're trying to say now is that we have been extremely conservative, and we've been very aggressive in building the organization so that we can bring back resources to our community. And we're very excited.
When you reach a certain age, your memory fails you on specific subjects, but when I was in the Senate, I had a hand in the appropriation. I think it was the second funding, not the initial funding for BBIF, because I think it had been started prior to me being in the legislature, but at some point we needed to renew it, and I had the appropriation for that.
You sure did. You brought those fundings back to the organization, which has allowed for us to grow. Because in order for us to ever have become a CDFI, we had to have shown a history and record of good lending in the community when they did their audits of us to certify us as a CDFI. And we are, as all CDFIs, we are reviewed every 2 years. They go through everything. They're very serious. If you are a financial institution, and you must operate as one.
Commissioner Hill?
Wow, I mean, what a great legacy after 27 years in the lives and families and businesses that you have impacted. And of course, thank you again, as you stated, that partnership and bringing those funds there in that Mercy Drive corridor. I know myself and the mayor and this council are really laser focused on that Mercy Drive corridor, and mental health and wellness is much needed. It's been such pain over there. But and also, I think you failed to mention that I've been on top of is that guardian care efforts.
Yes.
That you are. Can you talk about that for a moment?
Well, Guardian Care, as most of you probably realize, was one of the first African-American hospitals in this community. And certain people were even, I think Sheriff Demings was born there. And so Guardian Care, I sit on that board. Guardian Care is in the midst of doing itself in making a new facility. So it's going to be, I think the investment is going to be around $18 million worth of new investment in this community to build a new facility for older citizens here in Central Florida. So it's going to be very good. It's going to be very good.
And I know you happen to secure some funds with them in tax credit piece.
Yes, you have. Thank you.
And I was glad to hear that you are assisting, and I didn't know, and that was going to be a question, but you answered it when it came to small business loans. If someone have a contract with the government and you don't look at their credit, is that also the GOA contracts that's...
Any of the governments around here, any minority business, and I'm saying minority, I'm not saying black, any minority business that has a contract with any of the local governments can come to us, and we will provide working capital on that contract.
I know that mobilization funding usually stops small businesses from being able to participate, so that is major. The last question is, when you said that you need the city to help you with loan loss reserves, can you help me?
Sure, let me explain. So if we do a microloan, for instance, and let's say it's $10,000, we've got to reserve 15% of that in an account in order for us to do that loan. So that's cash money. And generally, you don't want to put borrowed debt in a reserve. We try not to do borrowed debt in a reserve. We try to do grant dollars in a reserve. We were blessed this year to win another grant from the FA program, the core program, with CDFI Fund. When we get grants, what we try and do is we leverage that money to get debt. So the monies that we loan out, we borrow that money from the investment community, and that's the money we loan out. And the grant dollars that we are able to secure, we use that in reserve as equity to get the debt.
And last but least, I know for a while we were talking about this concept of a business incubator within a open space. Do you have an update on that?
We
Or
have
can you
talked.
talk about it? And yeah, go ahead.
Well, we have found the potential partner, a larger CDFI out of DC that's willing to loan us dollars to do that. So we're trying to get some local partners together that will be willing to open up something
For
like
the
that.
board, can you explain the concept that we've been talking about so that they would know maybe?
Well, an incubator, small business incubator can be based around, you can do technology-based small incubators, or you could do small incubators where you partner with the university, where you're trying to get some of the young students to come out and start businesses, or you can do incubators where folks are already, they're new into business, and so you're providing resources, the capital, and also the relationships to help them grow those businesses.
I think it was a different concept that you were focused on that was pretty interesting. I think it was businesses within it was different type of like cottage foods and different things of that.
Oh, you
nature.
mean the healthy foods?
Yes.
Oh, okay, yes. The healthy foods. What we've been working on is with some of the businesses that are down in the Paramore area. Whether you're talking about folks that have kitchens or folks that have food trucks, and pulling those together to bring capital into those businesses, and also the flea market on Saturdays. So we did propose this year for a healthy foods grant. We did not get it. So what we've been doing is, regarding healthy foods, there's another CDFI that's larger than us, that is not based in Florida, that does a lot of healthy foods. So we've been working with them, talking with them to see how we can leverage their resources around that project. And I'll be happy to get back to you and update you on how that's coming.
Thank you so much. I'm finished.
Thank you, Commissioner. We'll move to Commissioner Stewart.
Thank you very much. 27 years.
Yes, sir.
Man, that's incredible.
I know it's a blessing. It's a passion.
I can tell. Thank you very much. Two quick things. One is on a private side, if you have a couple of minutes afterwards, I'd like to talk to you about a microloan idea that I've got, especially in the Paramore area, that may help out. I'm not sure it really fits into what you're doing, but I think you may have good access for us.
Absolutely.
And the second thing is that we're doing a strong, I know that the city's involved in doing a strong minority push for subcontractors at the airport. And I'd love to figure out how we can get you to either play a role in helping to train these people to be able to go after loans, or be able to help loan them directly. There's a show this past weekend with a friend of mine, George Morning, who's helping to coordinate that.
Yes, I'll be happy to do that.
And because I think that's, it's a lot of these tradesmen, especially in the minority area, really want to be able to have their own company and move forward. And oftentimes they're stuck because they're having to work so hard and have the business and try to start a business too. And a lot of that has to do with capital.
Yes, it
And
does.
so the idea really is to figure out how we can connect them to capital and to small business training. We're using Jerry and the work in terms of the minority area to teach them to how to accomplish that. So it's an idea that I talked about 10 years ago about having a kind of a tradesman entrepreneurial center.
Right. Like the contract, what was it called, Mayor? The contract, it was like, you remember Dion Moore used to be the director, and it was with the airport.
Yeah.
And it dealt with contracts, people that but definitely, if we could bring an asset component back like that, I would be happy to talk to you about that.
But I think the challenge, and I think our city's done a good job, and the mayor's done a good job leading it, is that is increasing capacity.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
The idea isn't that we want to just provide jobs for minorities.
That's right.
We want to increase capacity.
That's right.
So that they continue to work. I can remember the story of the Orlando Magic when they hired an architect and hired a minority architect. And within about 2 months, the minority architect that had 2 people in it, that they had to expand because of the job, and ended up having 10 people in the business. So now you've got this whole new capacity building that I'd love to make sure that we're a part of. So yeah, I'm connected to some of those the same way that Commissioner Hill is. I want to make sure that we're kind of touching all those pieces and parts.
I love
Thank
to
you
work.
so much for what you're doing.
Thank you so
So
much.
good to see, and so great to hear your excitement after 27 years. That's wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Inez.
You're welcome. Thank you, Mayor.
Gabby, you're next up.
Good morning, Mayor and Commissioners.
Good morning.
Just find the... Okay. Well, thank you again for giving us the opportunity to present in front of all of you. Before I begin my remarks, I would like to recognize two of our board members. We have John Martinez, our Regional Board Chair, joining us, and also Lisette St-Hilaire, also a board member from iHeartMedia. So thank you for being with us today. As you, very quickly, I'm just going to remind you of the work we do, Prospera. We just changed our name, so I think this is the first time that we're presenting as Prospera. We used to be we still, a formal legal name is still the Hispanic Business Initiative Fund, but we changed our name to Prospera, and so far has been very well received by our funders and our clients as well. But as you know, we specialize in assisting Hispanic entrepreneurs to open or expand their businesses in the state of Florida. We work very closely with different organizations. Obviously, we're part of the NEC, and I will expand in a little bit of how important that is to us. But mainly what we do is that we provide that bilingual and cultural sensitive services. Now, a lot of our businesses, and we're seeing that a lot now, as we have seen a lot of people coming from many different places, Latin American countries, is the issue sometimes is not that the person necessarily doesn't speak English. I mean, that's one of the main concerns or one of the main issues, but a lot of times even more than that is the person doesn't understand the culture of how to do business in the United States. A lot of times we have people from Puerto Rico, for example, who are completely bilingual. However, when they come here, they don't know the culture. So that's where we come into place, and that's what we do. We help them understand and adapt to the culture of how to do business here. We work, every year what we do is that we offer different trainings. All of our seminars and orientations that we offer are in Spanish. We're able to do it in English, but we already have a lot of organizations doing that service in English, so we offer them in Spanish, and sometimes even in Portuguese. So we offer Spanish startup orientations, and also workshops on specialized topics that are very relevant to the different companies that are either starting or who have been in business for a few years. After we do that, that helps us to identify different clients who then need the one-on-one consulting and obviously get through the process of evaluating their experience, their need for access to capital, the need to connect them again, helping them adapt to the culture. And after we're able to do that one-on-one consulting, then we're able to identify those clients who really have potential to have a solid and sustainable business. And then we help them in many different areas like minority certifications. We help them have access to capital. We work with organizations such as Acción, BBIF. We work with different financial institutions to help them prepare the loan packages and take them through the process. And we also have, thanks to the support that we receive from you, we have business grants that are this one's here. These are services that we pay specific experts, providers, to help our different clients with their legal structure, accounting, business plan, marketing plan, corporate branding, etc., to build a very strong and solid foundation for their businesses. Now, the beauty of this is that the providers that we hire to do this, we work with them. They work with us. As subcontractors. And we pay them a preferred rate. Many of them have been clients of ours, so this is a way for them to give back also to the community. We helped them many years ago, and now they're helping by helping other clients be able to achieve the success they have been able to achieve. To give you an idea of the results that we have had, just this past fiscal year alone, here in the city of Orlando, we were able to help 268 unique clients. This means that we're not, when we count this number, these are people that we met on a one-on-one, and we're not repeating the same person in this number. Over 2,100 hours in consulting that we did for those clients, 583 jobs that we were able to help create or retain. And as the output that we invested in the city of Orlando, and this is thanks also to the support, of course, that we received from you, but also from many of our corporate partners, and also the funding that we received from the state is over $470,000 that we were able to invest in the community. Just to give an idea, in terms of our Central Florida region, we were able to help 558 clients. We trained over 1,800 seminar people came to our programs. We have helped retain or create over 1,500 jobs, and we have marketed over $6.4 million for local businesses, loans for local businesses. And just to give you an idea, at least 50% of those loans came from the city of Orlando. In terms of our educational programs, we have done, here in the city of Orlando, we have done over 29 workshops and seminars. Over 1,000 people have come to our workshops. And some of the topics, you can see them on the presentation. We have done accounting for non-accountants, protect your intellectual property, human resources, etc. So we offer minority certification. That's a very, very successful. We always get a lot of attendance for that one. We work very closely with the city when we do those. And also we talk about the permitting process, etc. Again, educating people how to adapt to the culture and also how to do it the right way. We also, to your point, Commissioner Hill, one of the things that we do is that we also like to go into the community and do a lot of grassroots. We have worked very closely with many of you. Obviously, we work very closely with Commissioner Ortiz. And a lot of times we understand that businesses, it's very difficult for them to leave their business to go to go into an orientation or to go into the consulting time. So what we do is that we go into their businesses. So we definitely try to for example, we have been working very closely with Gateway Orlando, where we partner with them. So in that way, we do presentations to those groups. In that way, we're able to adapt to their schedules and to their needs, because we understand it's difficult sometimes for them to take time off and go to our locations. In addition to all these different services that we have offered this year, we were able to do our Contractors Academy. That was an 8-2-hour session program where we opened it for 40 Hispanic small businesses in the construction industry. And we provided a report here that gives you more details on the results of how people, pretty much on the feedback that we received from the different participants. But as you can see, this was a free program. All of our programs are free of charge. But imagine having a 2-hour program for 8 sessions. We had 40 people registered and 34 graduated. So that shows how impactful it was for their business. And the ones who didn't graduate, it's not because they didn't go to, in order for you to graduate, you needed to complete 6 of the 8. So the ones who couldn't graduate maybe missed 3 instead of the 2 that we allowed. So we had very, very, very positive responses. Some of the topics that we cover were access to capital, instructing them on how to be more efficient with their business structure, with the business finances, how to do business with government. That was one of the key topics that we covered, bonding, etc. Again, building that foundation for all those contracts that then you have, creating that pipeline for those contracts that you have, for example, now with the airport. These are the businesses that in 5, 6, 7 years will be the ones who are going to be working with you, with the government, hopefully building even greater things.
Okay.
And this is possible, of course, thanks to the support that we received from you and from other local organizations, from government institutions, and also our corporate. One of the things that I would like to highlight today, maybe not such good news, but again, it shows how prepared we have been in doing what we do very well, is that this year, due to the political climate that was in Tallahassee, as many of you know, it was very challenging, especially for economic development entities, we lost a portion of our funding from the state. Not because they were against us, actually we were on the good side, but as you may know, a lot of the non-recurring appropriations were not approved, and many of them were not even considered. So unfortunately, we fell on that group of organizations that didn't receive the non-recurring. However, we did receive the recurring funding, but still, that was a hit that we had to take this year. But again, we were very well prepared because we run our our organization, we're a very sustainable organization, and thanks to the support that we receive from our local government and also from corporations, we were able to sustain that hit. So right now our CEO, Augusto Sanabria, is working very, very hard, making sure that won't happen again. Obviously, that we never know, we don't have control over that, but we're doing everything in our power to work with our state legislators to make sure that they increase our funding again for next year. Now, some interesting numbers that we were able to share at our last Success Stories luncheon last week is that based on the Florida Chamber Foundation, they had a report showing us where we're going to be in 2030. And as you can see, there will be an increase in the population of 6 million people. And that increase is very interesting because most of it will be here in Central Florida. Oops, I'm sorry. Will be here in Central Florida. So you can see some of the top counties that are going to be seeing this growth will be Orange County, Osceola County, and as we know, those are counties that have a very large percentage of Hispanic population. And these numbers, they don't even reflect the number of Puerto Rican businesses that are going to be coming here in the next, that are already here and that are coming here in the next few days, few weeks. This morning I was listening to the news and I heard that the governor announced that right now close to 6,000 Puerto Ricans have come in the since Maria hit Puerto Rico, all the way to now 6,000 people already here. I mean, and this is just starting. And that brings me to the point of why it's so important of the partnership that we have at the NEC. Because right now what we do at Prospera, again, going back to what I mentioned at the beginning, we help individuals to adapt to their culture, to the business culture. We have the structure. We don't have to create a new program for this situation. This is what we have been doing for 25 years. However, we have a structure that we can help. For example, here in Central Florida, we help 600 individuals a year. Now, if we have 2,000 individuals in 1 year, 2,000 small business owners who now would like to establish their business here, obviously it's going to be a challenge in terms of the resources that we have. So this is where the partnership that we have with the NEC is so important. We already had a meeting with them. All of us, we met together, and all the resource management group, we sat down and said, what are we going to do together to be able to help these Puerto Rican businesses or business owners who are coming here? They already lost everything, and obviously, unfortunately, they had to close their business as well. So what can we do to work together? We're already getting responses from SCORE, from SBDC. We have bilingual consultants. We can waive some of our fees. We can do different things. Of course, we work very closely with the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce as well. So again, this shows how important throughout the year we work together. But now, in this time of need, we're coming even closer to make sure that we're able to provide the need, the support that these people need so hardly. And unfortunately, the beauty of this is that this is something that we see here, and not a lot of people. We have offices in Tampa, we have offices in Miami, and they don't have the same support because they don't have an NEC over there. So thank you, Jerry, and Julie. And we also work, of course, with many other organizations. And of course, BBIF is another organization that we work very closely with. And and I want to say as well, we already communicated with the city staff to provide our information. I spoke to Luis Martinez on Saturday. He called me on Saturday and making sure that we were able to provide the information for the website that you're putting together to help the victims of the Hurricane Maria. And also we have been in conversations with Georgina and the OLA staff to make sure that as people go into that center, they're also able to receive the information. We have been meeting with United Way, et cetera, to be able to support and provide the information so everybody has the information and the numbers that they need when they receive the different victims. And lastly, I just want to remind you that we're going to have our Don Quixote Awards on December 9th. So we look forward to seeing all of you there. And I don't know if you have any questions for me.
Thank you, Gabby. Very good. And I always enjoy your blue and green colors.
Oh, look at it.
Commissioner Ortiz.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Gabby. That was a great presentation. And just to expand on what you were saying about the culture is definitely obvious. The reason why we're so different is because most of our countries in Central and South America, they're centralized government, where we are decentralized. So you're right, adapting to how we do business needs to be done, but at the same time, I think people find it is a lot easier to do business with us because of that same condition, being decentralized. And the academics behind it are so important. What you guys have done in teaching our people how to do business in the Central Florida region and in Florida as a whole or United States is great, which I would also offer. We have that government academy where we teach how the federal, all the levels of government work, which would help. And also, we also have the Mayor's Academy that teaches about how we do business here in the Central Florida region. Another source that I would like to put in your hands is the Orange Technical College. They offer courses to help professionals that come to this country and they don't speak the language, how to translate, how to learn the terminology that they need to learn in order to get certified in whatever profession they practice. And it has been a very successful program. We've been in contact with them to do an alliance and to do some other projects, but I found out about that and I visited their college over there and I found it magnificent in terms of what they're doing. As a matter of fact, they teach at the Englewood Center. They teach English to some of the constituents we have over there. But what I have found most interesting is how they're teaching them how to translate, how to do learn the terminology that they have to learn in order to be able to take those tests to get their certifications on their respective professions. So with that being said, thank you so much for what you guys are doing. And as you said before, you guys are being in contact with our Gateway Orlando and with our neighborhood leaders, and you guys are always in a very proactive fashion helping our community. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Commissioner Ings.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, Gabby.
Good morning.
I just really want to say thank you, and thank you, Inez, and thank you, Jerry, for what you are doing and continuing to do for our community. All three of you were just fantastic on today, and your presentation was just marvelous. I just really appreciate that. And you all three are committed, loyal, and passionate. And that's where the heart lies in what you do for our community. So thank you so very much for all that you do.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Commissioner Stewart.
Thank you very much. One of the things I'd like to work with you on, I guess probably from our city standpoint, is how the city can help support you from our permitting area. I know we're doing a lot in that today, and I've had a lot of people contact me, especially about Spanish and Portuguese, which I always thought was a little bit different. I hadn't done much thought about that, just because that's not in my culture, and it's. But it's good to hear you do that. I think we need some more resources here in the city to help support y'all. So please let me know what I can do to help as far as that's concerned. And then, of course, whatever Commissioner Ortiz needs, we're always prepared to help him. One of the issues I don't know how to do it, so I'm going to kind of rely on you, is the number of Puerto Ricans coming in that want to get business licenses, that want to move quickly. I don't know what the city can do to accomplish that, but I would love to have whatever I can do to support you, Commissioner Ortiz, to make sure that happens, because I think we're going to end up with a lot of tradesmen that come in town that really do that really could be an asset not only to their development but our own community's development up here. So we stand ready to help. So thank you, Gabby. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Commissioner Story. To that point, one of the things that we're already working on is preparing different seminars and workshops so we can immediately be able to share with people this different information about how to get the permitting. Yeah. However, another part that is very important, and this goes hand in hand with the consulting, is that a lot of times, especially now that these people, they have lost pretty much everything and they're coming here with a sense of desperation, we want to make sure that we help them, first of all, to be very objective in the way they're planning this, because we just had a call from very successful business owner in Puerto Rico. They had good money saved. However, he doesn't speak English, and he's not sure if his business model is going to be a good fit for this region. Now, right now he's desperate. He's like, I need to open my business now. And we're like, calm down. We understand the situation. Let's talk, so in that way we can evaluate if opening your business right now will be the best idea.
Yeah.
Because we don't want someone to just come here, open something just because they're desperate, and then in 6 months it's going to be a failure, and now they're going to be losing their savings, and now they're going to be in a worse situation. So those are the things that are very important. Not only we help them to open and obviously to have access to all that information, but also we help them to be realistic and guide them through the process and prepare them so they can have sustainable businesses.
Here's a kind of a weird question for what it's worth. How are you working with the Orange County School Board? One of the challenges that we're seeing the first, I say we, I've been involved in it from a different perspective, but they're seeing the first line of defense of people coming in and that they're placing the kids in school. How are you coordinating with them to make sure that there are other business reasons? These are parents who have gotten to Orlando that want to be in business or want to start a business, but we see them first asking for help or in the school system.
Everything has happened so fast that we haven't really been able to meet directly with them. However, in that meeting that I mentioned earlier we had last week, we had the fortune of the president of United Way joined our meeting, and one of the things that resulted from that meeting with the NEC partners was that one of the questions they added to the questionnaire that they're doing at the airport and many other places is that they're asking them if they were business owners in Puerto Rico. In that way, now we're trying to get in advance who they are, and maybe that will help us also create a database to be able to reach out to them, not just to wait for them to reach out to us.
Well, the worst thing that can happen is somebody comes in town and doesn't know what to do and struggles for 3 months and then all of a sudden asks for help.
Exactly.
When we could have helped them, 3 months earlier when they got here.
Yes.
And I know that the president of the local United Way is good friends with the president of the United Way of Puerto Rico. So there's been a lot of resources to try to get down there, as well as providing a connection back up here.
Absolutely.
And that's really kind of a neat thing. And of course, Commissioner Ortiz working with the CASA group and, about getting supplies down there. I just think that we have a wonderful opportunity to embrace our fellow citizens back up here, and we ought to do all we can to accomplish that, to make sure that that's the case. Some will be successful and go back. Some will be successful partners here in Orlando, and that's what I'm trying to make sure we streamline as much as possible.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Hill.
Thank you. Great presentation, Gabby.
Thank you.
I know this is just for the folks at home that might be seeing this live or online, is that even though BBIF and Prospera do focus on Hispanics and blacks, it's all inclusive. It's an all-inclusive organization to where you assist anyone, regardless of their ethnicity. And I'm almost certain, and you can assist me, but I know that you are helping lift over in the west side of Orlando and the small businesses there within District 5. And I'm excited about that, and thank you for your partnership. Can you expand on that partnership there in District 5?
Well, actually, we have been meeting with...
Not taking anything from you, Commissioner Ortiz.
No. I just want to say that you know that they're the Hispanic version of the BBIF, right?
Indeed.
Yes, we actually, I think we have an opportunity to connect even more.
Right.
Having so many requests from so many different areas sometimes makes it a little bit challenging to be able to cover the different projects. Obviously, we have attended different meetings and different. I had breakfast actually with some of the leadership members from Lyft. But to be honest with you, I think we can do more. I think we can definitely expand more on providing the support to that specific district. So please let us know. We would definitely love to be more connected, and the same way we have worked with many other of the districts, we definitely want to make sure.
As Commissioner Ortiz stated, I think your hands are full now. I just wanted especially with the influx of soon-to-be Puerto Rican businesses coming from the islands. But I just wanted the public to know that your organization is all-inclusive and it's working on the west side of Orlando and trying to help small business owners.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gabby.
Thank you.
All right, that will conclude our workshop for today.